What's up guys, Marco here, and one of the most important topics in e-commerce and dropshipping is choosing the right products, because obviously everything else builds upon this thing. Now, instead of making this video on like the most common dropshipping niches and the ones that I recommend you to use, I wanted to give you 5 niches not to step into simply because they have the lowest chance of success. So yes, it is possible to be successful in them. I know stores who are, but I just wanted you guys to consider not using these niches, because most likely you're going to fail in them. So let's get started, and I want to present you why you shouldn't use them and why I think they definitely don't make any sense to go into.
I grew tired of that. I grew eyes on my back. They drew iron when I drew rhymes. So who's firing back? Told myself, keep your mind on them raps, knowing damn well this shit's true.
So the first niche I absolutely recommend you guys not to use is general fashion, general type of clothing and these kind of things. Now, I see stores popping up everywhere, and they offer things like women dresses and scarves and leggings and all these kind of things. But the problem is, yes, I know it's a very general topic, and if you are on track and if you are successful with it, you can potentially make like millions of dollars in sales simply because it's such a broad topic. But in reality, I assume that at least 95% of these stores don't make good sales with these items, simply because people have no reason to buy them. Imagine you have a store where you sell, like I said, general scarves, general dresses, nothing special, and you sell them for not even a good price, right? So if you sell a normal type of leggings, a normal leggings for 30 bucks or something, well, people have very few reasons to buy your products, because first of all, it's not branded. Fashion has a very high brand loyalty, so people like their particular brands and they buy them a lot. Second, you don't have anything that really convinces the buyer, because you don't have real style. You don't have something unique. You just have a plain shirt or a plain leggings that they can get everywhere. And third, your pricing, like I said, is not even competitive. So it may work if you sell like a pair of leggings for $8 or something. People might think, well, this doesn't look special, it's not that cool, it's not that out of the box, but I can get a super good deal here, so let me buy it anyway. But the reality is that dropshippers have very few reasons to sell these general clothing items and still charge a relatively high amount, and of course have all these things like quite long shipping times. Another reason is that sizes are very bad. In dropshipping, when you source products from China, people have to wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, and once they get the product, they realize that the size really sucks. So it's way too large, or normally way too small actually, and you know, they waited that long for an item that they paid quite a lot of money for, and then it doesn't work for them. So you will get a ton of refunds, and it's pretty messed up. So I recommend that as long as you don't have a very good reason to do so, for example, you have a very unique style, or you want to be a niche specific clothing brand, like about, you know, clothing all about pets, or clothing all about a certain style or a certain interest, then it can make sense. But if it's just general plain clothing, you're competing with so many different businesses, so many different large ones, small ones, that I do not recommend to go into it at all. The second are stores that, you know, they self-brand themselves with a logo or something, but they have nothing that really speaks for themselves. So I see this a lot. People make shirts or print on demand, and the only thing they put on is their logo. And for some magical reason, they expect to make sales simply because they have a logo on their shirts or on their clothing. But why should someone actually buy your product just because there is a logo of you and they never heard of you, right? So the only reason why branding works for big businesses and big brands like Gucci and Calvin Klein and all these things, where people pay a lot of money just because of the logo, is because they build the brand up front. So don't expect that you can basically take a shortcut and squeeze this all into like a very short Facebook ad campaign, and that you can suddenly charge like $20 for a shirt or $30 for a shirt just because your logo is on there. Nobody cares about your logo if you didn't get this brand awareness and this brand recognition up front. So it's a very long process. I know some minor brands who are doing pretty well, doing like a couple of $1 million in sales every year. And they really spend a lot of time building that reputation. This means having a very good social media following, really investing into their whole brand identity, having very good media stuff, so photos and videos, and they are really doing some good stuff. But if you're just starting, don't expect that you can get sales just because you put your logo or something on certain products, because nobody will care, except for probably your family and friends, that you have your own product with a logo now. the most likely way to actually make sales with your own design or own branding is if you use print on demand and you put a certain style on your product. So a very good style, a very good design on like a t-shirt, probably people buy it because of the design, but they definitely won't buy it just because of your logo. Now the third product, and this is also something I see almost everywhere, and these are watches. Watches of all shapes and sizes. Like people sell big watches, small watches, and they sell these luxury watches. You know, they position them as luxury watches, but they cost like $10. So it makes sense already that these products are not really good. If someone sells a $10 watch in their stores with a very generic product description and calls it a luxury watch, people know that this is garbage. People know that this isn't true. And especially I can tell that Chinese watches that you buy, at least the majority of them, they use very bad materials. And you know, the important thing with watches is these movements in these watches. They are very important, and many cheap brands and many cheap factories sell very cheap movements, and they cause the watch to stop very soon. Like after some watches literally stop working after a few weeks. So as long as you don't really go with super specific watches from a certain style, or you go with a little higher priced watches and you really take care of, you know, product quality and positioning and branding, watches is a very, very bad idea to work with. Like I said, I see this in all kind of stores, general stores, but also niche stores. Suddenly they have a lot of products and a watch, and I can tell, well, people will just hate these watches, at least most of them, and you will get a lot of issues with customer refunding and charging back and all these kind of things, simply because the quality is low and, well, the watches are simply nothing special. The fourth niche, the first category, is actually not really a niche, but it's more like a certain type of products, and this is always choosing the most popular item that there is. I know many people go to AliExpress, go to DHgate, go to wherever it is, and they just sort by best sellers and they go with the first of the first 3 items. They think that this is the item that will get them a sale most likely, but in fact it's a totally different story. If you think about it, these items are simply the ones that get bought the most, and you don't know if it is because, you know, that there are few factories or few retailers who bought like thousands of them, or, you know, simply because, well, there can be so many reasons why people buy these items. And the thing here is that if the item is so popular, there are also most likely a lot of advertisers who are trying to advertise and sell this item, which of course makes it way more competitive. So people think, well, if this is the most popular item, this should be super easy to sell. But it's definitely not that case. It's definitely not the case. If you're going for the most popular item, the only thing that you really get into is a ton of competition that makes it very hard for you to actually make consistent sales with this product. So don't always go for the most popular, the most hyped things. It can be good if you catch one of these products on the rise. They can be popular, but there still has to be some potential. So if the product is at the top, it's definitely not a good point to actually join. When I remember fidget spinners last year in May or something, when you jumped on the train like April or May, it would have been pretty good and you could have made a ton of sales. But if you join it the moment where like thousands and thousands and thousands of others are selling it, this is the point where the whole market gets distributed among so many different sellers that it's very hard, and that you're competing. You know, people see a ton of these products on their newsfeed. If you advertise on Facebook, if you advertise on AdWords, CPC are super going up. So this is the point where it gets super difficult. So don't always go with the most popular item, and really seek those that are either on the rise, or go with something entirely new in the first place, which is of course hard to find. But if you manage to find one of these, you can become super successful with it. Alright, so the fifth and last niche that I don't recommend stepping into is general, simple kind of jewelry. It's very similar to the first niche, general clothing, because here you have the same problem. People are looking for jewelry, and normally it's something special, right? So you buy a piece of jewelry, you expect it to last for more than like a few weeks, and if you buy something on AliExpress for like $2, sell it for $20, this price will reflect that. People pay $20, probably $30, probably $50 in your store, but you really pay just $2-3 because of course jewelry has these crazy margins. This is why this is a very tempting niche or industry to go into, but people will realize that you have super cheap products. Like if they buy something for $50 and you paid like $3 for it, chances are that these items will break after 2 weeks, or that simply the quality is so bad that when they, I don't know, when they push it or something, it will break. It's super bad quality. They will feel it. They will realize it immediately after unpacking the whole box. So the first impression that they get from your product is already so bad that I would not recommend selling jewelry. Same goes here again as for all the other things. Yes, there are super successful jewelry dropshipping stores, but it's super hard, especially because it's such a general kind of industry. People normally want to have a selection of different jewelry products, so probably you have an ad with some earrings and they say, well, these are some cool earrings, let me check what other products these guys have. And then they go to your site and, you know, there are the recommended products down below. They see a necklace, they see I don't know, a bracelet, but they also see something like a pet stuff, they see some baby shoes or whatever, and they think, well, what kind of store is that? And then they go to your site and they realize that you have like 3 earrings, 5 necklaces, 2 bracelets, and I don't know, a belt or something. And this immediately gives the impression, well, this is not really a jewelry store that I want to buy from. And of course it is still possible, if your main product that you're advertising is super, super good, people might still end up buying it. But the thing is that jewelry is it's a very competitive market, and people have their taste, and people want to really browse through different things, and they want to see what you have. So as long as you are not a dedicated jewelry store, especially with a certain topic, like I said before, if you are jewelry in a specific market, if you sell jewelry within a specific niche or interest, then this can work very well. But if you're just broad, cheap jewelry, it's very, very tough and difficult. So yeah, guys, these were my 5 niches not to step into. I hope that you learned something here today. If you want to learn more about dropshipping and e-commerce, make sure that you check out one of these 2 videos here on one of these both sites. I'm sure that you will learn a lot more in these videos as well. Of course, if you want to get updated with the newest e-commerce tips, e-commerce dropshipping, marketing, if you want to learn how to bring your store to the next level, make sure that you also subscribe to this channel. I'm releasing new content about 4 or 5 times a week, as often as I can. So I hope that you liked this video. Please leave a like if you did. Please post a comment if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye bye.